Alright troops, it's your man Chris Sculling from Tyrell Hack here, and today I'm going to take you through the Ultimate Team mode in FIFA 18 on Nintendo Switch. Now, Ultimate Team is not a new mode in the grand scheme of things and all things FIFA, but for Nintendo gamers specifically, it is a new mode. This is the first time Ultimate Team has ever been on a Nintendo system, so for a lot of people who maybe don't, or maybe just kind of Nintendo only or lapsed kind of FIFA gamers who haven't had a football game in a number of years and the Switch version is their excuse to get back into it, then for them Ultimate Team will be new to them, and it can be a bit daunting at first because there's a lot of stuff to kind of bear in mind and think about, but it's actually pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. And my video guide here today is to hopefully show you the ropes fairly early on and let you see the basics so that you can then have a fiddle about with it yourself and kind of hopefully become hopelessly addicted to it like I always have been. So yeah, let's get cracking. So the whole point of the Ultimate Team, by this point I've set up a really basic Ultimate Team here, like I started a new one so you can see it's I've only played a few games with this team just to kind of show you what it looks like near the start of Ultimate Team. It's tricky for me to show you a kind of in-depth team that's played 50 games because at that point it's kind of difficult to see where what the initial setup was and how it initially worked. So basically, by the time you got to this point, you'll have named your team and it'll have given you a bunch of consumables to start off with. So you'll have got your team name chosen. It'll have given you a random badge. You can see the one up the top left there, the red star. I can't even remember what team that is. It'll have given you that badge. It'll have given you a random home strip and away strip, and they've given you a bunch of numpties in your team. Basically, mostly 50 plus rated players. So like basically the worst players in the game. You'll have got a selection of those for your team to start you off with. Now the whole point of the Ultimate Team is to slowly but surely work your way through essentially building up your squad until you've got a squad that can beat all comers, and essentially replacing the crappy players you start with a dream team. So what we've got here is my basic squad. It says reserves at the top, even though I say it's my main squad, but there's a reason for that and I'll explain it later. Now again, this is just the very start, so I would imagine any Ultimate Team experts will immediately look at this and go, call that a team, and no I don't, this is a very bad team. But again, that's what happens when you start the mode. You're not expected to have world beaters at this point. Now at this point I'm going to open a can of Iron Brew. Because it's serious business from this point on. Okay, so here's my squad. What I'll do is I'll start a brand new squad just to make it easier to see. Guide. This is our guide squad. This is the squad I'm going to show you how to do it. Right. So start with the generic formation just now. At any point you can press ZL and kind of change the formation to whatever you want, but let's just go for a simple 4-4-2 just now. You can mess about with that later. Now the point here is you've got various players. If I do add player here, this is all the players that I've got in my club. I've got some loan players here that I've got later on, that I've got through packs and stuff, and the number there shows how many games they can be used for. So if I want to use Scott Brown with Celtic, I'll only get 7 games out of him and then he has to be punted. He's just a loan player. These are the rest of my players. We've got a lot of gold players, some silver players, some bronze players, and those are roughly just the quality of the players. So the number at the top is our overall rating. Once it hits 65 it goes up to silver, and then once it hits 75 it goes up to gold. Some of them are shinier looking, so all these ones are just like common cards. There's common and rare. These are the common ones, all these ones. And then sometimes you get these shiny ones, and it just means they're a bit rarer, they're harder to come by, so that's fine. That's all kind of straightforward enough. Now the basic thing when we get your players and you start your squad, you want to go out and put together a basic squad first, and the best way to do this is to go to each position, press Y and add player, and just search. At this point you don't want to care about details. You're starting your basic club, searching your club, and you'll find all the players you've got. So for now, pick the best player for each position. There's really basics. Again, Ultimate Team experts will be looking at this going, oh, what are you doing? That's a terrible advice, but just bear with me. This is the very basic stuff here. You're going to get a weird mix mash team here full of numpties. Let's stick one in here. Oops, come out by mistake, that always happens. This guy and this guy. Now that's my basic squad that I've just knocked together in 2 minutes. Now, the things to bear in mind here, up the top right there, you can see it says Chemistry 71. That's one of the most important things in the game. Chemistry is what basically determines how smoothly and how slickly your team plays. Let me explain it in a better way. Hold on. Let me make another squad, which is mental. This is a much easier way to do it, so we'll call it Squad Chem. Now let's take 2 centre mids here, right? So if I add a centre mid here, yep. Now this guy, if you move the right stick, you can see his stats on the card here. So he is Spanish, obviously you can tell he plays with Real Madrid and plays in La Liga in Spain. So he's pretty much as Spanish can get. Now, you can put any other player next to him. I can put this chap here, Mitsuzaki, who plays in the J League essentially for Shimizu S-Pulse, and he's Japanese. Now I can put him next to him, right? So they're both side by side. Now the basic rules of chemistry is that a player's chemistry goes up if they're in the right position, and then depending on who they're next to. So if I put this guy down here and right back and move the right stick so you can see their chemistry, that number 1 at the bottom, that's his chemistry. So that basically means he's in as pretty much a shitty position as he could possibly be. He is playing in a position that doesn't suit him. He's a centre mid and he's playing in right back, so he's totally out of position and he's not got anyone around him that he can relate to basically as a human being. So that's why his chemistry at the bottom is 1. He's basically, it basically means if you're playing him in that position, his stats are going to be drastically cut down. So his passes are going to go wayward, and you're going to have inaccurate passes a lot of the time. His tackles are going to miss. His shooting's going to be off. He's basically just going to be a much worse player than he would normally be. So the aim is to not just put the best players in the team, but put them together with the best people. Now if I put him in here, his chemistry goes up to 4. As you can see there. Now 4 is the default chemistry for players in the right position. So because he's a centre mid and he's in centre mid, he's a 4. If I move this guy out of the way, he's still 4, right? Yeah, so basically if you take a player and put him in the right position, his chemistry goes up to 4 at the very least, because that's just the way it is. He's a wee bit happier now because he's playing where he's supposed to. If I bring this guy up next to him, nothing much really happens. This guy becomes a 4 as well. And the reason is there's no chemistry between them. There's no kind of connection between these two players other than the fact they're both in the right position. He's Spanish, he's Japanese. He plays in La Liga, this guy plays in the J League. He plays for Real Madrid, this guy plays for some Japanese mob. The point is they don't know anything about each other, so they can't really connect. And you can see that by the red line between the two players. You can see the red line connecting them both. The red line essentially means there's no connection here whatsoever. If he passes to him, again, there's still a decent chance that the pass is going to go wayward or stuff like that. They're not gelling as seamlessly as you would hope, essentially. Now I can swap him out, and I can search my club again. And if I put in Oxlade-Chamberlain, you're going to get the same situation because he's English, he's Spanish. He plays with Portsmouth, Real Madrid. He plays in England, he plays in Spain. Same deal. However, we've got 2 guys here. We've got this guy, Juan Camara, who's also Spanish, plays for this other mob, and he's in La Liga 1, 2, 3. So basically he plays in the Spanish 2nd division. And if I put him in, suddenly they're both 10 chemistry. Now that's not the best chemistry, oddly. I mean, they could be better, but for the purposes of this, that's good enough, because there's enough stuff connecting them now. He's Spanish and he's Spanish. That's enough to kind of bring them 10 for now. Now this can go back down. If I put a guy in here who is English, this guy's chemistry goes down a bit, because the guy he's connected well to this guy but not to this guy, because he's Northern Irish and he's Spanish. He's playing, I said English earlier, I didn't realise it's Northern Irish flag. He's playing in Ireland, he's playing in Spain. Again, there's no connections whatsoever, so his chemistry goes down to 7 and this guy's is just on 4. So the whole thing's a puzzle basically. You want to try and get as many players as you can who are all kind of linked to each other in a good way. So if I take this guy back out, back up to 10 here, and if I now swap him for the other Spanish chap I've got, Grego Sierra. Actually, I'll do it this way. I'll put Grego Sierra in and I'll put the other guy in because they're in the same league. Now you can see they've now got a green line between them, which is like they're both still 10 chemistry, but it's a stronger bond this time because not only are they both from the same country, they're both playing in the same league as well. So they're both Spanish, but they're both playing in the second kind of division of Spain. So that green line there now means it's a much stronger bond. Although the chemistry still says 10, it's actually more than that. 10 is just the maximum. It means that the formation is right, plus they're next to a guy from the same country, plus they're next to a guy from the same league. They fucking love each other basically. Which means if I drop in this guy, no skin off his nose, he's still a 10, because although he's still not related to this guy in any way, he's so happy with this guy that he's still 10. He's still on form basically because he's got such a strong connection with this guy. It's essentially going over 10, but this kind of bumps it back down to kind of, it's getting too complicated. But the point is, the stronger the links, the less likely they're going to drop when you put someone unsuitable next to them. So yeah, there you go. That's chemistry kind of explained in a really complicated way. But yeah, it's the sort of thing you'll pick up eventually. All you need to basically remember is that put players in the right position if you can, and after that, make sure that they're joined by lines to players who are either the same nationality, playing for the same league, playing in the same league, or ideally playing for the same team. Because if they're playing for the same team, then you've automatically ticked 2 off, because obviously they're in the same league as well. And that's, if you can get 2 players in the same team next to each other, regardless of nationality, the chemistry is always going to be 10, as long as they're in the right position. So that's that. Yes, it's nice and confusing. Sorry about that, but that's the way it goes. So let me delete this squad because you know how the chemistry works now. This is going to be a really confusing guide for the first point if you're totally new to this, but just bear with me here. Right, so this is like the basic squad we put together now, and already there's kind of, it's not ideal, it's okay. These 2 guys are joined by a green line, you can just about make it out between them. And that's because, again, they're both Spanish and they're both in the same division. So they're both 10 chemistry because they're happy with each other. This guy's 10 as well, because he's got a Spanish guy here, he's got a Spanish guy here, he's got a Spanish guy here. He's basically surrounded by Spaniards. So the fact that this guy's from Northern Ireland doesn't really bother him because he's still happily surrounded by other folk here. He's still chemistry 4 because everyone that's surrounded by him has no relationship to him whatsoever. So this guy's Spanish playing in Spain, Spanish playing in Turkey, English playing in England, and he's an Irish guy playing in Ireland. He's got no relationship to anyone that he's connected to. And likewise, this guy's got no relationship to these 2. So he's kind of, Pearson's all sad on his own. Same deal with these. Basically, if you put a player in the right position and their chemistry is only 4, that means nobody round about them he doesn't get along with anyone round about him because they're as different as they can be. So this guy, nobody around him is in the same league or country or team. Same with this guy, Mexican. Same with this guy, Norwegian. All the rest are Spanish. So the aim, ideally, if you're starting out and trying to create a team from scratch, my advice, and it's what I always do, is to pick a nationality and try and fill a team with players from that nationality, because at the very least all their chemistries will be decent because they'll be surrounded by players of the same nationality. So if I try and get another Spanish centre back and a Spanish goalie, then they're both going to shoot right up, and it'll shoot this guy up as a result because he'll be surrounded by more Spanish people. So if I got another, I don't think I've got. There we go, we've got one here. So he's not as good, he's nowhere near as good a player, but for the sake of chemistry, he's gone up to 7 from 4. And I'm pretty sure I don't have a Spanish goalie. I do, so if I put him in, again he's not as good a player. But his chemistry now goes up to 10, his chemistry goes up to 10. His is still on 7 because this guy's annoying him, so we have to find a Spanish right back. Now, that's our basic team so far. Not the best team in the world, but the chemistry's gone up a wee bit to 83. We want to kind of at least hopefully hit 100 chemistry. Now you can, there's also managers. If you hit the ZR button, you can add a manager to your team. This guy's not going to be very much use at all, but I'll put him anyway because he's the only guy I've got. The manager has a league and a nationality. If you have a player, if any players in your team have the same nationality or play for the same league, their chemistry will go up by 1 because they're happy with the manager. So if I had a Spanish manager managing in the Spanish league or something, then any Spanish player, their chemistry will go up by 1. And if they're playing the Spanish league, the chemistry will go up again as well. So that's something to look out for as well. If you get a manager of the same nationality of the team you're trying to build, that's useful. So let's go to the transfer market because we want to try and find ideally a right back, a left back and a left mid who are Spanish. And let's see how that goes. Now this is going to be tricky because the transfer market here is quite quiet at this point because it's day 1 for the Switch version and it's going to take a wee while to build up. People are still at school and still at work. It's not really got a chance to get going. And the Xbox and PlayStation versions have had a fan base that's growing for a long time. So yeah, it's going to take a wee while longer for this transfer market on Switch to grow. And so as a result, it's going to be harder to buy players right away. Now we want, what did we want? We want a Spanish right back, a Spanish left back and a Spanish left mid. So let's try for at least the right back. So in here you want to go, the quality doesn't matter just now, we'll worry about that later. So you want position right back, nation Spain. And I'd recommend just seeing who you can get for 400 first. Probably not many, nothing. Yeah, because people are greedy at this early stage, so put it up to 600. At this point, I just want anyone. I'm going to end up spending a lot of coins on some Diddy here. There we go. There's a guy, a right back, and he's gold. But, and I can assign him and just send him to my club. Let's make it a gold right back, which is nice. A wee Spanish chap. Now I can go back into my squad. I can swap player. Now, in this swap player screen, when you put in another player, you can just search all the right backs in your club, and it's fine because I've only got one other guy. But if later on down the line you've got loads of players, so say if I'm going here and I can this is like all my players. That's like every player I've got, and it can sometimes be a nightmare if you're shuffling through them all. You've got your filters up here, so if you want to find just the Spanish players, that's just the Spanish players that are also sitting in my that aren't on the field just now. So I've got this right back that I just bought, and we'll swap him in. Boop. There we go. And we can send him back to the club. There's a new right back in. His chemistry's gone up to 9, which is okay. Presumably because he's clashing with this guy because he plays in Sweden, but 9's good, 9's alright. And what you also find in terms of chemistry, because he's brand new, you can see in the stats there, he's played 0 games, he hasn't played a game for me yet. As soon as they've played 10 games for you, their chemistry goes up by 1 because they're more trustworthy, they trust the team, they're gelled with the team. So although he's 9 just now, don't worry about it. Once he's played 10 games, his chemistry will go up to 10 and he'll be delighted. So you've got a full team here, full of happy guys. Down here, it's just the left side that's a trouble. But I can work on that later. That's the left wing. Essentially, for the first few games, I'll be playing up the right. Basically, just basically ignore these guys, pretend they don't exist. One other thing, and I don't know if I've got the right stuff for it, but we'll check and see. If we're looking for Spanish players again, we've got a much better midfielder here than this guy. Because the central defensive midfielder, he didn't come up when I looked for him earlier, so he'll be slightly out of position, but there's varying degrees of position. So if I take a centre mid and put him in goals, he's not going to like it at all. He's going to be like, no, fuck this, I'm having no interest in this whatsoever. But if I take a central defensive midfielder and put him in centre mid, he's going to be perfectly happy. his chemistry will just go down to 1, but again, if I play him for 10 games, it'll go back up to 10. So although he's slightly out of position, he's still a midfielder, he's still a central midfielder, and he'll be happy enough, and his chemistry will go back up. So he can still be a 10 and be slightly off. If that's not good enough, I don't have them just now, but you can buy these little beasts, position modifiers, and you can buy ones like central defence, midfielder to central mid. They're expensive, so hopefully you hope to get them in card packs, but if you can get one of those, that'll change his position to help the chemistry basically, but you won't really need it. What you can also buy in the transfer market are chemistry styles, and these all kind of improve a player's stats depending on what you want. So if I buy, what's the cheapest one here, just so I can show you it in place. Let's buy this one, no, that's basic, we don't want that. Sniper. Right, so I bought this sniper chemistry style, and that works for strikers. So if we go back into my squad, and this chap up here, he looks like he's going to be my star striker because he's 79 just now. So what I'm going to do is apply an item to him. Oh, that's squad training, what an idiot. Actions, apply consumable. Chemistry style, right. He's attacking, so sniper, as you can see there, that puts up his dribbling stat and his shooting stat. So if I give him that, his dribbling and shooting will go up. So if I apply that to him, he's now a sniper. And his stats are now gone up for those qualities. That's good. That means he'll be better at dribbling and shooting. So yeah, there we go. Essentially, you want to get to the position where everyone's happy, and as many people as possible have got these kind of stats, these chemistry styles attached to them, so that they've all got enhanced stats and stuff like that, which is all very nice. You can also apply training for kind of single match things and all that, but that's one thing. You're also going to need to fill your subs bench. You can just do that with random players if you want. But my strategy, and this is a strategy that's useful, is because every time you finish a match, the player's fitness goes down. So you can see there, this is all their fitnesses. They're all 99, 96 and all that kind of stuff, because some of them have played games for me recently. And if you keep playing with the same team over and over again, that fitness slowly goes down and down and down, and their stats get worse. And essentially you end up with a team of sweaty bastards. Now you can apply squad fitness to all of them, and that boosts all the fitness, but those are finite cards. You're going to go through a lot of money buying these new cards over and over again to kind of keep them fit. So my basic strategy that most people should be doing from the start, it's a harder thing, but is to have two teams, not this guide team because I just set that up. I've got two teams here who I switch between, and the joke, I call one reserves and one B team, because it means no matter who you play, they think you're playing your second string squad against them, and they'll get pissed off because they'll think that you don't respect them enough. So both teams are actually, the reserves is actually my best team, but when people play me, they think I'm playing the reserves. So yeah, so I've got one team here with a full subs bench, and then the other team is just the opposite. So the subs come up here, and the team that I had appears down here instead. And what that means is you play a game with this team, and it lets all these guys rest. They only rest if they're in your subs bench or reserves. If you take them out of the team altogether, they won't rest. They have to be sitting on the bench or in the reserves for their fitness to go back up. So I play one game with this mob, and meanwhile all these guys, their fitness goes back up. And then when I play the next game, I swap back to this team, and then these guys go on the bench and they get to rest. So if you keep swapping between these teams after each game, you'll never have a problem with fitness, because they'll always have full fitness when you start a game. So the aim ideal is to build two squads. So in other versions of the game, I've got an Italian squad, which has got the perfect chemistry, and then a kind of mishmash squad where it's harder to get good chemistry, but worth it more. So it's mostly players from the Spanish league and stuff like that I do. So yeah, there we go. So that's chemistry, that's getting squads and all that. That's kind of the basics. Again, there's more things you can look into in depth. One of the good things to do when you start off is, and I think they're gone now because I finished them, are they? Let's have a look. Yeah, they're gone. There's a series of challenges you get at the start of the game. There's 15 different kind of mini achievement type things that aren't here now because I've done them, but they take you through it, how to buy a card, how to do this, how to do that, and if you do all of those, that's a good foundation. Here's all your kind of modes. So you get FUT Central, as I say, that actually shows you the stuff you've played recently. Single player mode. Single player season is a kind of season mode where you're put in Division 10 at first, and you're given 10 matches to play against different teams. So here's my fixture list. So I've played these 3 already, and these are the rest of my 10 matches. This is a single player mode, so it just puts you against normal teams in the game at various difficulty levels depending on what you've chosen. And you can see on the right there, if I get promoted I get 1700 coins, and if I win the league I get 2100. And that basically means you've got 10 games to try and get as far as you can. Obviously 3 points for a win. Now in the top, in Division 10, you've got to get 12 points. So you've basically got to win 4 out of 10 games. And if you do that, you go up to the next division, then the next division, then the next division, and you get your points. You get coins as a reward. Thankfully, you don't have to play all the 10 games. As you can see here, I've got 9 points because I've won my first 3. If I win my next game, it just says, well done, you've won the title, and it just takes you up to the next division right away. You don't have to go through the formality of playing the other 6 games, so that's good. So that's that. That's a really good way, if you're playing single player mode, to build up coins, because coins are basically the lifeblood of the game. You need coins to buy players, you need coins to buy packs. The draft I can't do just now because I don't have enough coins, but that's basically a case of you get to draft a team. It shows you, you pick each formation like I did just there when I was putting together a team, but it gives you 5 random players for each position, often like legends like Ronaldo and icon players like Pele and all that kind of stuff, and you have to try and still figure out the best chemistry and the best players and put it together. And with that team, you then do a 4-game tournament, and if you can win all 4 games in a row, you get loads of prizes, loads of fancy cards and all that kind of stuff, so that's quite cool. Squad building challenges is one of the most kind of important elements of the game if you want to unlock loads of kind of goodies, as they say. I've left this one deliberately just so I can show you how it works. So I've done these 2 already. A squad building challenge is let me clear this squad. They're basically like puzzles where you've got to make a squad based on the stuff that's the requirements on the side here. So this challenge is basically saying we want to put together a team just with these 4 players. These locked ones don't count for this challenge. So 4 players, exactly 3 nationalities. So 2 of them are going to be the same nationality. The chemistry's got to be at least 17. Now that's going to be fine as long as 2 of the nationalities are next to each other. And 4 players in the squad, obviously. So if if I add, let's see who else we've got here. Some English guys. Right, so if we put in an American guy here, if we put in this guy here, I don't want to use up my good players because when you submit a squad building challenge, those players disappear from your team. This is more a way to get rid of players that you don't need anymore, so I'm wary of doing that. Now I'm going to put in that midfielder and see if this works. The guy who I chose not to use anymore, this guy. And so if I can put in a Spanish striker, there we go. That's enough chemistry because these 2 guys have bumped the chemistry up past 17 because they get along with each other. If I just put in 4 random players, the chemistry would have been 4, 8, 12, 16 and not enough. But because these 2 guys are Spanish, the chemistry is 21 and that's enough. So if I submit this team, those 4 players disappear from my squad. I can't get them back anymore. I get a bronze players pack for doing that. And because I beat all the kind of challenges on that screen, I've got a 2 players pack and a Nintendo Switch kit, which is very nice. Here we go, send that to my club. And now I can, now I can go to my store, because that's where my packs are that I've unlocked. There's my bronze pack, which I just unlocked. And this pack now gives me more players for my team, which I can now use to kind of, it's all only bronze ones, so that's not ideal. There's another Spanish midfielder, he might be useful. And there we go, that's another whole big bunch of players that I can use to not really much use because they're all bronze, but except for this guy. But if this was gold packs, you'd be able to look through them and go, oh, maybe he'll be useful now, because he's a centre mid and he's Spanish, so he would work well in my team. So send them all to your club. If there's any you don't want, or if you get duplicates, you can choose them and do. Oh, because it's a gift, I can't do it. Never mind. But you could, in theory, put them on the transfer market, but you can't do it with these beginner packs. And you sell them for coins, which you can then spend. And here's my 2-player pack. One of them's rare, apparently, so this could be good. Who am I getting? Silver. A silver Mexican centre back and Argentinian midfielder. Cool. Send them my club as well. So yeah, so that's how it works. You slowly build up your squad either by completing these challenges, going through the modes. There's your single player season mode I was telling you about. You've got online season as well, which is the same as single player season, except you play against other humans. So I lost my first game and won my second game. And the same thing's the same. It's the same idea. You've got to hit a certain number of points in 10 games, and then you get pushed up to the next season, and you get more coins as a reward the higher up the seasons you go. So if you kind of get obsessed with this mode, this is the best way to build up coins, because every X number of games you're going to get a wee coin boost. And yeah, online tournaments the same. Online tournaments probably not as worth doing. Hardly anyone plays them, and you don't get a lot of rewards for it because you need to win the tournament basically. So if you do an online tournament and get knocked out of it after the third game, you don't get the tournament bonus and you're wasting your time. You might as well play seasons mode instead, because you're at least guaranteed some coins after a certain number of games. Even if I lose all 10 games here, I'm still going to get 950 coins just for staying where I am as a bonus. So always do online or single player seasons. I wouldn't bother with the tournaments. They're a bit of a waste of time. There's also Team of the Week challenge. Every week EA pick a Team of the Week, and here they are for this week. And it's always players who have played well in real life and they've got like fancy cards. So here's Messi's got a fancy card. Morata's got his own kind of fancy card, and these cards are made available in the store as well. Not to buy, you can buy them in transfer market, but they're always really expensive, and they'll turn up randomly in packs, although they're obviously much rarer than normal cards. If you get a card like this, you can then sell it on for crazy money, although obviously if you keep them in your team, they'll play really well. And there's all these kind of guys here, so these are the guys to aim for to hopefully try and get. But you can play this team every time there's a Team of the Week. You can play against them, like start the challenge here and choose the difficulty, and you'll get that number of coins if you beat them. So if you play in world class mode, you'll get the same coins you would get for winning a game plus 600 for beating the team. Obviously that gets easier as your team gets better. And yeah, that's basically it in the grand scheme of things. There's other stuff like concept squads where you basically, that lets you mess about with teams and chemistry with players that you don't have, just so you can plan in advance and say, oh, maybe if I had this guy, maybe if I had that guy, that would be good. And then you can go to the transfer market and try and fill up the squad, that concept squad, with the team you've put together. The only other thing I'll do, I will play a match. I'll finish my single player season, which should, let me see, that'll give me enough coins to buy a pack, and you can see that process, and then it's party time. So what I'll do first, I'll show you how to assign items to your club. Here's my club, top scorer with 3. If you go club item search, you can see all the badges you've got, because you get badges and stuff in packs as well. There's my badges. That's the one I've got just now, Villa Maipu. That's the badge I've got assigned, but if I wanted to change it, I could just choose a badge and make this active. Same deal with kits. That's all the kits I've got. And again, you unlock those from things. I've got this weird tiger one, which is my active home kit, and this one, which is my active kit as well. But I'm going to replace this one with the new Nintendo Switch one I've got. There we go, that's my new tops. And the same deal with stadiums you get and balls you unlock and stuff like that. That's all the stuff. Basically, stadium and balls, if you end up being the home team, every time you play someone, the game will determine who's the home team and who's the away team, and the home team, their stadium and ball get used, and that's pretty much it. So let me play this match. We'll play this wee single player season match, because if I win this game, as you can see, if I win this game I hit 12 points and get promoted, and then we can buy a pack of cards, and then you'll get to see the final process, and then that's pretty much it. So let's get cracking, and obviously we'll skip on so you don't have to sit and watch me doing this.
Well, some teams that we cover, Alan, I think would be satisfied with just the promotion, but not these lads. I don't think so. And they won that last match. They've got their promotion, as I say. Now they've got to get another win if they are going to lock up this title.
Yeah, and it's been a close-fought league this season, and it's been an entertaining one, and this team have contributed a lot. Another good win here will see it off.
One thing that works for this team, I would say quite clearly, Alan, is that there are a number of them from the same country.
Well, in these multinational days, when you've got so many different languages in dressing rooms, it can be hard to communicate, but that's not going to be a problem with this lot.
Well, down on the touchline, getting the details about that injury is Negredo! Oh, well saved. He's kept it out. Goal! So that's the goal that has them in the position now. They are champions if it stays like this, winning the title. They've got so much confidence, Alan, haven't they? Because they've got other games to come. They've been the dominant force, and it would be a great way to do it.
It would be, and that goal scorer maybe will be hoping that his goal is the deciding factor. He'll get in the history books.
Following in to get an excellent goal. And that's the end of the match at 1-0. Well, they played very well when they had the ball, which wasn't that often. But they played even better when they didn't have the ball to stop the opposition.
Yeah, that's right. When they did have it, they used it extremely well and clinical in the end.
So there we go. A wee gubbin. Let's then beat. Well, it's pretty close, but your man Negredo coming out again, becoming the main man. There you go. I got a lot of coins basically because I got however many, 400 or what I would have got for winning the match anyway. Plus, there you go, for winning the title in seasons mode, I got 2100 for that. So yeah, so with those coins, like I say earlier, what you can then do is you can buy players in the transfer market. Well, first I got to choose another single player season, so let's go for a more difficult one this time. This one gets me 2500 coins. Sounds good. There you go, and then it continues. I'm up to Division 9 and I work my way through those again and see what happens. So yeah, that's pretty much it. With those coins now you can go in the transfer market and buy specific players if there's anyone you know you want, or any gaps you know you want to fill. For example, I've still got that left mid. I might want the Spanish left mid still, and do the whole process again, trying to see how much I can get a Spanish mid for, Spanish left mid for. There's a good one. I could buy him if I wanted Morales. In fact I will, because I've still got enough coins left over. So that's him. Send him to my club. Go into my team again. With my guides team. And there you go. Now this wee chap, this poor Northern Irish chap has been sitting there the entire time with no pals, can finally come out. And then we've got a Spanish guy in now who's chemistry 9, and he's pally with these two guys. And again, next time I'll try and replace the left back with a Spanish guy again, and then we've got a full Spanish team. Already we've got chemistry 100 up the top right, but you can keep doing more so that individual players play better. So once I replace him with a Spaniard, I've got a fully Spanish team who'll play a lot better than the team I had before. Even if I filled this team with all gold rare players, but they were all different nationalities and the chemistry was all over the place and was like 30 odd, some of these players would play better like this. Like this guy would play better than a gold striker with like 4 chemistry. Because his chemistry is 10, he's a lot happier, his stats are better, he's more consistent. So it's not necessarily about having a team of superstars, it's about having a team of good players who all play well together. because if this guy's not going to be able to string a pass to him, it doesn't matter how good he can ping the ball into the net. If he's not going to get the ball in the first place, then it doesn't matter. These two guys need to be communicating well. So there you go. So all that's left for me to do, I don't recommend this usually, but I'm just doing it for the sake of this. If you go to the store, you can buy points with real money. I've never done it, so if you want, go for it, but it's perfectly possible to build a good squad without doing it. If you browse packs, there's gold packs here. With my 5,000 coins I can buy a gold pack. If you really can, save your coins and get these. But again, I rarely buy these. I prefer to do these squad building challenges instead. So for example, these marquee matchups, these turn up every week, usually on Wednesday, Thursday, and it's 4 challenges based on real life matches that are going to be happening this weekend. And you can see the kind of requirements there. These will get more these are quite difficult, so you're probably not going to be able to get them all done, especially at this early stage. Much later on, in a few months' time, it should be quite easy to do all these, but because there's a time limit on these, it's going to be hard at this stage to beat all these. But you might get lucky and get 1 or 2. So for this one, for example, you get a jumbo gold pack, which is just full of gold everything, which is amazing. But you'll need to buy a Chelsea player, buy a Man City player. Make sure 5 of the players, you can see here, there's your squad. So on the left it says at least one of these players needs to be playing for Chelsea, 1 for Man City, at least 5 of them have to be playing in the Premier League. The rating has to be at least 76, so you can't just stick bronze guys in there. And the chemistry needs to be 95, so they all need to get along with each other. Although that's quite easy. If you fill the squad with Premier League players, then they'll probably do okay because they'll have the same league and their chemistry will go up, but there you go. It just means it's the way of making sure you don't just hit the minimum requirements and then just fill it with randoms. You've got to have a consistent squad, and if you do that, you get a jumbo gold pack. And if you're good enough to beat this one, you'll get a jumbo premium silver pack. This one will get you a rare gold pack, and Electrum pack, which is players from all different bronze, silver and gold. And if you manage to do the 4 of those, you get a premium gold players pack, which is just full of the best players in the game, which is amazing. So yeah, those are the things you're going to have to aim for. These ones should keep you busy at first. Kick-off, let's keep going, League of Nation basics, hybrid leagues, hybrid nations, League of Nation hybrid. These are there forever until you beat them for the first time. So these are ones you can work on. There's solutions online. To be honest, there's websites that give you the solutions, because some of them get really difficult. This last League of Nation hybrid one is a fucking nightmare if you don't know what you're doing. You need 9 different nationalities playing for 7 different leagues. There's got to be a highly rated team, and the chemistry's still got to be good despite the fact that the players are from different countries and different leagues. You basically need to put together the most perfectly tuned squad there to solve this. But like I say, people have put the answers online. This just means those players are really expensive, but that's something to work towards. And yeah, you get kind of loads of really cool rare stuff for that. You beat all that, you get loads of coins and loads of rewards and all this kind of stuff. So there you go. So we'll end it by buying a pack. Like I say, I usually wouldn't do this. It's just for the excitement value. This is what some YouTubers just spend their life opening packs and going mental when they get a great player. But I'm not going to get a great player here because it's 12 items and only one of them will be rare and only a few of them will be players. But there you go. Bang. Who do we get? Probably some useless Diddy. Well, he's rare at least. Blandy. Appropriately named Blandy. Argentinian striker. And there we go. And then you'll get other bits and pieces, a couple of contracts, some manager contracts, some healing stuff, and more badges, and your kit, and another badge. Contracts, let me just briefly mention that before we're done. Every time a player plays a game, they use up 1 point in their contract. So he's this guy in the middle, he's got 49 game contract, this guy's got 7. Usually when you get a new player, it's a 7 game contract. He's got 3 left, 7 left. And every time they play a game, the contract goes down 1. If they're on the bench, their contracts don't go down unless they come on the park. Even if they come on at the last kick of the ball, that counts as a contract going down 1 because they've stepped onto the pitch. If I like this guy and I want to keep him, and he seems okay for now, I can do actions, apply a consumable, and apply a contract to him. All these different contracts. This one will add 13 matches to his contract, and now he's up to 16. So you need to keep a steady flow of contracts going to make sure these players keep playing, because once a player runs out of contract, he can't play for you until you either renew the contract or you just sell him. But there you go. So that's it. Sorry that was a long introduction, but it's quite a complex mode, as you can see, and a lot of it you'll pick up just by playing with it. But my recommendation is, for now, set up a basic team, start playing single player season mode. You can try online season, but bear in mind a lot of people are buying this because a lot of people are buying the Switch version as their second FIFA. So a lot of people you meet in this mode are still going to be shit hot at FIFA, and because everyone in the last few in these kind of few days, everyone will be starting at Division 10. It won't be a kind of accurate league setup at this moment. If you give the online season mode a few weeks to kind of level out, at that point all the best players will have worked their way up the divisions and all the shitty players will stay in the lower divisions. Then if you leave this season for this mode for a couple of weeks and then start it, you're more likely to get like worse players in Division 10. As it is just now, you might end up playing against people who are shit hot and just haven't worked their way through the divisions yet. So it'll be kind of, you might get put off. You might end up playing absolute legends who shouldn't be anywhere near that division, but just have to go through the process to work their way up. So yeah, I recommend for now going through a single player season and playing a load of these games first. If you're good at it and you're starting a low enough difficulty, then every 4 or 5 games you're going to get a nice wee coin boost, and just keep working on them. Build them up until you get, like I say, 2 decent squads, ideally. A squad full of one country, and then maybe do a squad full of a second country, or a squad from players from the one league or something like that, and then put each team in the other team's subs bench and just swap between them. You'll have full fitness all the time, and ideally you'll have 200 chemistry teams who you can then tweak, and every now and then even when you've got a full team full of, say, gold Spaniards, when you get a lot more coins, I can say, well, this guy's only 75, maybe I can find an 80, and this guy's only 78, maybe I can find an 82 or something. Slowly but surely you'll build the team up. The aim eventually is to get a team full of legends. When I finished with Ultimate Team on FIFA 17 last year on Xbox One, like I say, I never spent a penny on the real life FIFA points. You don't need to do that. You just have to be patient and work your way up. By the time I finished the Xbox One, I had a team that was rated like high 80s. I had a couple of 90 rated players. I had Ozil in the middle, kind of forwarding on to Henrik Larsson, legend player, and Inzaghi, legend player, and I had a Shevchenko. I had like a few legends playing. Legends are really good because everyone around about them gets decent chemistry because they don't have a league or a team, so the chemistry just goes up naturally. But they're the rarest in the game. So yeah, you can build a really good team just by playing a lot of games and through patience and through clever use of the transfer market, and by filling in those squad challenges. Those are the kind of most fun part of the mode. So do that. Take your time with it. This is a mode that requires a lot of commitment to succeed in it properly. Unless you're the sort of knob who goes on YouTube and throws 200 quid at packs and then just spends ages opening packs. Those are the people who will end up with shit hot teams within the first week. Don't do that. Take your time. Don't spend anything on microtransactions. Slowly work your way up, and you'll get far more out of it. When you get a great player, it'll be amazing, and they'll be a superstar, and you'll love them in your team. Have fun with it. It's a great mode. Once you get properly into it, it becomes really addictive. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy it as much as I do. I will see you on the pitch, as they say in the streets. No, they don't. But yeah, hopefully that helped. Like and subscribe, do all that YouTube shit, and I will catch you on the flip flop. Cheers guys, bye bye.